Hi, and welcome to the Momversation Club, the podcast born out of the idea that every mum needs a tribe. I'm Claire Strong.
And I'm Christina Struckmeyer. We're two moms just like you, navigating the chaotic, challenging, and often isolating world of motherhood.
Yep, that's right. And it's said that it takes a village to raise a child, but we want to know, where the F is the village?
It's a question that resonates with so many of us who find ourselves raising children, managing careers, and trying to maintain our identities, often with a sense of isolation.
Yeah, but we're here to remind you that you're not alone. The Momversation Club is your village, a place where you feel valued, appreciated, and understood.
We believe that by sharing our experiences, successes, and struggles, we can create a virtual village for all you amazing mamas out there.
So join us every week for some honest, raw, and relatable discussion about all aspects of being a mum, including the stuff that you just can't tell anyone else.
So if you've ever asked yourself where the F is the village, then you found your tribe. Let's get into it.
I cannot believe that Christmas is just around the corner. This is just insane.
I know. Have you started thinking about all of, like, the shopping and like kind of figuring out what you're going to do with the girls?
In true Claire style, no. Of course, of course I haven't. No. I've still got all of that to do. But the traditions are going to start in earnest very soon. I don't know
Yeah.
about your household, but we have the whole bloody elf on the shelf thing still.
Oh, no, we will talk about that today because today's topic for all of our listeners is about how, as mamas, we are kind of in charge of creating and sustaining Christmas magic.
Oh, yes, we are. It's like,
When do you decorate? Like, when do you get your decorations up? Because I know we talked about in the fall episodes, I like an
yeah.
early decor situation. What about you?
So I do too, but by early, I'm talking like the 1st of December. I don't mean like, back in October or November. So I think December the 1st is great. Although traditionally, I don't know whether this is the same in America, but certainly in England, it's tradition to have your Christmas tree up 12 days before Christmas and to leave it up 12 days after. And then the
Oh,
funny thing is, when I lived in France, they have different traditions then because they put their Christmas tree up really late, sometimes on Christmas Eve type late, but then they have it up the entire month of January.
huh.
So it's different. So how about you? When do you put your Christmas decorations up?
Well, if it was up to me alone, it would be up on like November 1st because I
Oh my
love
God.
Christmas.
I
But
do.
my husband loves Thanksgiving. It's his favorite holiday. He is the turkey man. Like, he cooks the turkey for the whole family. So he has said that at the very like minimum Black Friday, day after Thanksgiving, I'm allowed to put it up. And I was like, well,
Okay.
what if we put it up now and put like a big blanket over it and, like, make it a Halloween tree, like a ghost
Oh
tree?
my
He's like,
God,
no.
that's so funny. That's hilarious. Oh my
Oh
God.
my
So
God.
you're already itching to get your tree up.
Well, as soon as the fall stuff goes down and the Halloween stuff, I'm like, oh man, I want to put my Christmas up immediately. I don't know,
Yeah.
especially post COVID world, like any kind of joy that we can glimmer from our lives, like, let's just take it.
Well, Christmas is my favorite time of the year. I think because it's such a big deal in England as well, because we don't have Thanksgiving. That's not a thing in England. So Christmas is the time when all the families get together and we have the turkey. So we kind of do Christmas dinner like you do Thanksgiving, although I'm sure you stole it from us first, but we'll get into that on a
Oh,
different.
okay. Wow.
I'm
Wow.
sure.
Starting it
I'm
off
sure.
strong.
Yes, I'm sure we set the standard first, but that's a different conversation. So Christmas is such a big deal in England. So I love Christmas. I got to say
Yeah.
though, Christina, I don't know whether you feel the same, but living in California, don't get me wrong, I love the sun, and I'm not moaning and complaining. My friends back in England will be like, oh my God, if they hear me talk about this. I am not complaining about the sunshine and that it's warm quite often at Christmas. I am not. But in the same breath, it doesn't feel that Christmassy here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know anything different because I've grown up in California my whole life. And so for me, this is Christmas. Like, when it gets kind of cold, I'm like, oh my gosh, everybody, let's grab a burqa or whatever. Like, I'm freezing. And I'm sure that I would simply perish if I was overseas in your area
You
because
wouldn't do
it's
well in
so
Yorkshire,
cold.
Christina. You would not do well in Yorkshire.
No,
It's pretty harsh during the winter.
I get so cold that
Yeah.
I can't do it. I can't do it. But it's coming up. It's coming up, and I feel like as a
Ooh.
mama, like it's almost like gearing up for like our time to shine. Anyways, before we get
Well,
into
it
that,
is. It is, but let's just elaborate a little bit on that. So yes, it is our time to shine, but do you not also feel that it's our time to be under immense pressure, maybe self-induced pressure, but
yeah.
who is making Christmas happen? It's very often the mums.
Yeah, yeah,
Don't you
for
think?
sure. And I feel like even if you have a dad who's very active, like often the mom is the task manager. Like, hey, we
Yeah.
need this done, we need that done. And like it's funny because I have a sister-in-law and she keeps all these bins of decor and she's always like, all right, time for the manpower, like get my bins down. Like, let's go. So it's like,
Oh,
you know,
that's so
even
funny.
though we have help, like it's mom's job to task manager the holidays. And also there's this invisible chore of like creating the lead up, like of the weekends and like the weekdays prior and making things
Yes.
fun and magical. And I
Yeah.
don't know. It's there's a lot there. But before we get into the Christmas magic, Claire, I want to back up and just talk about like the now. Because we forgot to
Yeah.
do our wins and our fails for this week.
Oh, well, I have them all written down here, but you go
Okay.
first. I want to hear where you're smashing it and where you're
Passing
leaving a
it.
little bit to be desired. Yeah, go on. Tell me.
Okay.
Tell
So,
me.
in preparation for the holidays, I know
Mhm,
that my girls get a lot of books. We love books in our household. And
mhm.
so I went through, we have a back room in our house. It's like the old porch. It's like sealed in. It's really cute. It's a playroom. We call it the library. And we have so many books. So I went through this weekend and my win is that I got a big diaper box and filled it to the brim with books to donate to our local library because we know that we're going to get so many at Christmas that we need to make room. And the same goes for toys. That's my next task is to go through the toys and decide what gets boxed up as a hand-me-down for the little one and what goes to someone who could use it.
I love that. I think that's a really nice thing to do. So we do the same thing here a little bit. We go through the stuff that maybe like the kids have outgrown or they just don't, play with anymore. Because obviously my girls are teenagers now. But I think that's a nice thing that you're giving all of that stuff to someone else to have, another life. But I also think it's really nice that you get books at Christmas for your kids. I do the same.
Yeah.
Even though, mine are getting older, they still do like to read. So I always make sure that every Christmas they have at least one book to open. But I think that for me goes back to my childhood because I used to get books at Christmas too.
Yeah, it's fun is we live in a home that was once Alex's grandmother's home. It's an old farmhouse. And so there's a lot of books from Alex's youth that have his name in them and it has like to Alex from grandma and things like that. So I love keeping that tradition alive and I like when people write in my books and like give a little message to the kids. Like a
Yeah,
little
I
card.
love that. I
Yeah.
love that too. Yeah, and it's nice because now I've got kids of my own. The girls do enjoy looking through these books that I had when I was their age or younger.
Yeah.
And same thing, they're inscribed, Dear Claire, Happy Christmas, love mum and dad, or whoever it was. And it's
Yeah.
really cute, isn't it? So
Yeah.
wow,
So
so
that's
that was
my win. I
what's
got
your
shit
win of the
done this
week?
weekend.
Yeah, my God, I'm
What's your
impressed.
win? I want to
Okay.
know.
So organized Christina. So you want to know my win?
Yes. Yes, please.
Okay. So my win. It's the finalizing of the phone saga. So a couple of
Oh,
weeks
yeah.
ago, I think I shared that. Yeah. So my eldest daughter's phone stopped working, but it was a whole rigmarole. It wasn't just because nothing's simple, is it? It can't be a straightforward fix for me or the mum or whatever. So
Nope.
so I finally got it sorted. So she actually has a phone. It arrived after weeks of like delay and God knows whatever else. So that's my win because that was that was at the top of my to-do list for the last 3 weeks. Make sure, chase up Sophia's phone. Where is it? And then tracking it. Once it got dispatched, I was like tracking the order every day. It was supposed to come on a Friday and then it was delayed till the Tuesday. Anyway, so we actually have the phone. The only thing is,
Yeah.
now there's another issue with it, but she physically
She
she
has a
physically has the
physical
phone.
phone.
She has the goddamn phone. So that's
Yes.
my win. I
Yes.
want to hear your fail.
Oh my gosh. So
Yeah.
my fail this week is, I don't know if it's like my fail or just like a general fail, but so I've mentioned to you that I co-parent with my older daughter's dad. His name is
Hmm.
George.
Yeah.
And George is an interesting fellow. He's hilarious. We still have a very good friendship. And he has, after we parted ways, decided to kind
Hmm.
of go a different direction with his look. And when we
Oh.
parted ways, he was kind of clean shaven, had a little bit of a buzz cut. Since we have parted our ways several years ago, he's grown his beard out. He kind of looks like that show, The Duck Dynasty. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but it's like a very
I
full
haven't, but
black
I'm
and
gonna.
white, like unkept beard. It's very scary looking.
Okay.
And
Oh.
he has his own sense of style. We don't judge here, but it's not what I would have picked. So, anyways, my
Oh my
youngest
God.
daughter, Rennie, who is 1, she's 14 months actually soon.
Yeah.
She is terrified of him. Like
Oh, you
she because of his
didn't.
look, because of his beard, and like, he's a bigger guy, and like so on Friday I went to go drop off my older daughter with him, and I had to go pee. So I come in with the baby and I'm like, hey, and I'm thinking, hey, will you hold this baby while I go to the bathroom? She grabbed onto me for dear life, like, do not let me go in
You're
this house.
kidding. Oh
And
my
she's shaking
God.
and crying. And this baby, just to give some perspective, is like the happiest baby you've ever met. Like, she'll smile at everyone. Old people come up to her in the store. She giggles. She doesn't dislike anyone. And so, anyways, that happened. And then on Sunday, he came back to drop her off because I drop off Stella and then he drives her back. And
Yeah.
he came to the house just for a minute and she screamed. And so, my fail is
Oh
that I'm subjecting my
no.
daughter to this, like,
Oh my
this terrifying
God.
person. But he's the sweetest guy. She just doesn't like the beard, I think.
Yeah. Oh no. And so how did he react? Was he like, did he
Oh,
take it well or was he
no,
offended or?
he's so he's like, "What's wrong with your kid? She doesn't like me." I'm like, "What's wrong with you, man? You look like a creep. If you were sitting at a bench in a park by yourself, I would leave the park. Like, you need to
That
fix
is
your
so
beard.
funny. Oh my God.
You're
Well,
scaring
that's a
children."
little, yeah, but it's a little out of your control, isn't it? Because you can't dictate to him, especially
No,
because you're not even with him. You
no.
can't dictate to him, what he, whether he has a beard or whatever else. So,
No, but we
yeah.
do the holidays together, so I'm like, "How is this gonna go down when you're at my house
Oh
for
my
Christmas?
God.
Like, is my child just gonna be, like, terrified of you across the room?" Like, I don't know.
Oh,
But
geez. So I didn't know that part. So you're gonna have to. I'm thinking of like a strategy for you. You're gonna have to like
yeah.
expose her to him between now and then.
Get, like, a book about different people with beards and how it's okay, like
Yeah. Yeah, she's gotta be accepting.
I
We
guess
can't have her,
so.
like, being prejudiced against bearded guys at one.
Yeah, she doesn't like it. So anyways, that's my fail, is that I'm subjecting my child to this, like, terrible fear. What about you, Claire? What is your fail this week?
Okay, so I'm a Pilates girl. So I love Pilates. I've done it for years. I started it when I was pregnant with Sophia because I also danced when I was younger. I was training to go to ballet school. So Pilates was a
Into
really
that?
nice transition. Yes, I was.
Ooh,
Yes, I used to do ballet like 6 times a week. And I was, yeah, all
what?
aiming to go to ballet school. And then I went the journalism route. But long story short, so I don't dance anymore, but I do Pilates. And the last couple of months, I've been thinking, I need to shake things up a little because my exercise routine is the same every time. Well, no, but it's not the same. I do different variations of Pilates, but it's still Pilates. So I've joined a gym. Now, I've never really been in a gym because I've either worked out at home or been in a dance studio or a Pilates studio. So it's all very clean and controlled, and it's mainly women. Now,
Mhm.
I am having a real hard time transitioning to the gym. I really am. And it's not because I don't enjoy exercising, I do, but it's just so different. It's like it's full of guys for a start. I've never worked
Yeah,
out with guys. And I don't feel that comfortable working out around guys. And the other
yeah.
thing is, it's not very clean. I'm used
Mhm.
to when I go to the Pilates studio, everything's sanitized and washed down or wiped down in between workouts, and it's full of women as well. And then I go to this gym, and there's men everywhere and it's dirty. And so I'm having a problem transitioning. So it's a fail right now because I need to embrace it a little bit more and just leave my judgment at the door and just go in and get my
Yeah.
workout done. But the other thing is, I find it a little boring if I'm being honest. I feel like it's a bit of a boring workout. And so again, it's my mindset. I need to shift my mindset and be a little bit more open-minded. So that's
Yeah.
my fail that I've not fully embraced it. But on a tiny little win, if I can like backtrack to our win section, I went 3 times last week. So that is a win. Because
Congrats.
prior to, yeah, because the week before I maybe went once because of the reasons I've just suggested. So anyway,
Yeah.
so
Oh
that's
man.
my fail. But also I see I've just turned a bit of a corner. But transition's hard. It's hard with
It
anything,
is.
but
It is.
it
It's
is.
so funny because you've mentioned Pilates a couple times on our podcast because you're a Pilates girl. And there's a sign at our coffee shop and it says Pilates. I thought you said pie and lattes. And I always think
I
of that
love
when you
that.
say
I've
Pilates. I'm
seen
like,
that
"Oh,
one
pie."
before. Yeah, I love it. I love that meme. I've seen it before. Yeah, I should have a
Oh
sign in
man.
this house that says something similar. So yeah, so that's there are our wins and fails of the week. And
There
we'd
we
love to
go.
hear yours, by the way. So if you'd like to drop us a comment and just let us know what went well for you this week and maybe what didn't go as well. Because yeah, we love to hear what's going on with you.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm sure we'll have more holiday related wins and fails as we go through the season here. But let's
Oh
get back
God,
to
I'm
it
sure
with
we
our
will.
so you mentioned, oh, speaking of fail girl, you mentioned
What?
earlier Elf on the Shelf. So let's backtrack. You and I are similar of age and
Yeah.
ish, right? Like
Well, I'm
so
a little older than you. I like to think I'm your like big sister.
okay. Okay, we'll take that. So when we grew up, and I know we have different upbringings because location and things like that, dynamics of parents, but I don't remember so much stuff on our parents that we have now, as far as like
No.
expectations of things we have to do because I did not grow up with an elf on the shelf. That was not a thing in our house. And I think it's relatively new, right?
It is, and I think again it's an American thing because I hadn't heard of Elf on the Shelf until I had my girls, and it wasn't until I want to say my eldest was about 5 that I even knew about it. So I've probably known about Elves on the Shelves for about 10 years. But
Yeah.
prior to that, I didn't have a clue about them. My mum and dad certainly didn't do anything like that when I was little.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I've got to say, my God, Elves on the Shelves. Whoever came up with that concept, thanks a bloody bunch. Thanks a bunch. They have caused me so much bloody trauma over the years. It's ridiculous. I literally have woken up bolt upright in the middle of the night thinking, oh my God, I didn't move the goddamn elves. And then I'm getting up at 2 a.m. moving them around. And the other thing is, like, I can't, it's the upkeep. They are so high maintenance because you feel you have to be really creative with the positions that you find them in the next morning and the
The
locations.
position.
I've
Hey.
only got so many places I can hide the bloody things. What is up with elves on the shelves? I wish they were not a thing.
They're not a thing at my house. So, we don't do elf on a shelf.
Wow.
I should
Well, how
disclaimer
have
this.
you got out of that?
If you
How
have
have you
little
got out of
ears
that?
listening, like definitely, this is not the episode to have them listen alongside. So we're gonna talk about some Christmas magic. Pause, come back when little ears are not here. But yeah, we don't do elf on a shelf at our house. And the reason being is my little one, my oldest, is not aware of it because there are a lot of withdrawal, like not withdrawals, but like a lot of negative things that come with autism. But one of the positive things is that she doesn't give a shit about anybody else's stuff. So she doesn't know about Elf on a Shelf. The only time she's been introduced to it is my sister-in-law. Really, like her elves do crazy stuff. Like they're like so. I think one of them had a baby once. Like there's like a lot of like
Oh
elf
my God.
lore with her house. So the first time we stayed there for Christmas in 2021, she had the elves on a chandelier and they were like having a snowball fight with marshmallows. And my daughter was like, oh, that's kind of cool. But she wasn't like, why don't we have an elf? So I'm of the mindset of do the bare minimum. And if they don't ask about it, like we don't know. And so I'm like gonna wait for the question when Rennie gets older. of like, why don't we have an elf? And I will address it then.
Yeah, I hear you. It's difficult. We are put in these predicaments as mums,
Yeah.
aren't we, on what traditions to take on and what not to take on. But
Well,
like you said, then they go to a friend's house or a relative's house and they're doing all of this, and then they're like, "Why don't we have an elf? Don't the elves like
is
us?"
that how you got roped in, Claire? Like, how did you join the cult?
Yes, that is how I got roped in. They went to someone's house, they had an elf on the shelf, and it's like, "Does Santa not like me?" I'm like, "For God's
Yeah.
sake." So then I'm on Amazon ordering it on Prime quickly to get here the next day. It's just crazy. And then the other thing with elves on the shelves, there are all these little rules with them.
Yeah, right? Like, you can't touch them.
Exactly. Except my eldest daughter wanted to walk around with hers when she was younger. In fact, we went to the North Pole. We went to see Santa in Lapland just before we moved here to California. So I took the girls to Lapland. It was the most stressful yet memorable trip ever because I think we were only there 48 hours, and you're basically on the border with Russia in the middle of nowhere. It's extremely cold. It doesn't get light in those countries that are that, um, in that location because
Yeah.
of the latitude. And so it literally, I think it was 11 a.m. when we went out to see Santa, and it was pitch black. So it doesn't get light there. Anyway,
Yeah.
I digress. The purpose of this story is Sophia wanted to take her elf on the shelf with us. And so we had all this, she can't touch it. She has to like hold it with a sleeve or something because she can't physically touch it, but she wanted to take it. Anyway, we did the whole Santa thing, which was great. But she left her elf on the shelf at the hotel.
Oh,
And
no.
obviously, the elf, yes. And obviously, we get back to the UK and she goes to bed that night. There's no elf because I haven't had time to order the goddamn thing on Amazon Prime again. And so it's stressful. All these blooming rules.
I
So
know.
I'll be honest, I'm not a big elf on the shelf fan. Oh, and then it's not just the elves anymore. They have pets. So we have the pets too.
Claire, no.
Yes,
This is
yes.
why I feel like
One of them.
it's a gateway drug, these elf on the shelves, because once you
It is.
start, you have to up the ante every year, right? Like, so if Molly, my sister-in-law does a snowball
Yeah.
fight, we're like, what's next? Like,
Yeah.
you
And
gotta
I've
up
got a
it every
friend.
year.
I hear you. And I've got a friend back in the UK, and I'm still in touch with her on Facebook and Instagram or whatever. And she really goes for it. So like every day there's an elf report, and her elf's like, maybe drinking champagne one night. Maybe
Oh,
one night maybe one night he's been sketching, a vase of flowers or something. There's something going on, and it's not that she's just literally picked the thing up and moved it from the bookshelf to the kitchen table, which is what I do. In fact, I still do the elves on the shelves thing, which is a bit silly because my girls now know that they're obviously not real, but I still feel compelled to do it. What's that about?
yeah, what is that about, Claire?
I don't
Are you
know.
trying to
It's
keep their
something with me.
childhood magic alive, or what's going on with that?
I don't know. It's a me thing. I need
Yeah.
to. That's on me. I don't know. I feel like I still need to, even though the girls are older. I still need to make the house Christmassy. I
Yeah.
don't know. It's a bit weird, but I wanted to approach the elephant in the room, the Santa situation. Now you've got
Yeah.
little ones, so they obviously still believe. Oh, I still believe, by the way, for the record, I do still believe.
Claire.
I do. Even though I'm also Santa, I still believe in a higher power. There has to
The higher power of Santa.
Yes, yes, I do. I do.
Like the
I do
spirit of
still
Santa.
believe. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Well, I'm still embodying the spirit of Santa. But yeah. So in your house, it's all very innocent still, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Like, Santa's presents have a special gift wrap. Santa gets a letter from the kids, and cookies at night before. And then, Santa's helpers, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, eat said cookies and drink a little bit of the milk and like leave a note back. And
Yeah.
yeah, Christmas morning is like special and there's Santa gifts. I will say, we don't do like crazy. Like, I've had friends be like, snow print boot marks on the carpet and like,
Oh, geez.
glitter like where he was stepping. Like, I've had people do like a lot of things. I think it stems from like a lot of like maybe you didn't get as much childhood magic or you're reliving it through
Yes.
kids.
Yes.
Like, I don't know. It's fun. And I remember when I was really little, I truly believed in Santa. I
I
think
did. I
I
did.
I found out the terrible truth around like 7 or 8. But when I was little, I
True.
remember being so excited.
But how did you find out?
My dad accidentally wrote from mom and dad and then just crossed it out and put Santa.
Oh, that's funny. So my mum
I
and
was like,
dad
"Why
used to do
that
the same.
clearly is you." Like, what wait, I have questions.
That's funny. So my mum and dad used to, they'd have like presents from them that'd say love mum and dad, and then they'd have some from Santa, but the handwriting was the same. It's like, what's
Did
Does
you
Santa like write the same as you, mum? I mean, what's going on there?
So did you have so I always wondered about this because I imagine that, I haven't experienced it yet with questions from the kids, right? But I imagine it's kind of like a slow realization. It's not usually this big,
Yeah,
"Hey, wait a second." Usually
yeah.
it's like,
And
"Hey, this is kind of interesting, mom. Let me ask you this question."
so
How do you
I
handle that with older
think
girls?
So I'm trying to think back. I think it was like a gradual decline, basically.
Yeah.
Because, they start noticing things that perhaps don't quite add up, like the elf on the goddamn shelf situation. The elf hasn't moved for 2 days, mum. Like, I thought it went back to Santa at night. So it's that kind of thing. And then, one of them caught me moving the elf from their bedroom one night. So that type of thing.
Oh,
And
no.
then when it comes to Santa, yeah, when it comes to Santa, they came across presents. I think that must be one of the most common things. The kids discover where the presents are, and they're the same presents that they open on Christmas morning. So it's like,
Oh.
what's going on with that? So that, yeah, it was like a gradual thing for us. It wasn't like, oh my god, Santa isn't real. It was like, mum, like how did the presents? I saw the presents. So how did Santa bring the presents? Because I saw them in your closet. And then the other thing is friends. Friends will say, and it's generally the friends with older siblings will say, Santa's not real. Like, we know Santa's not real. So when
Yeah.
I'd say my eldest believed for longer because she didn't have, an older sibling telling her differently.
Yeah,
So,
I have a younger brother who's I think I mentioned he's 10 years younger than me. So he's
uh-huh.
a decade younger. And so we did the same thing. Like he would come home with questions and I as an older sister was so protective of making sure he still believed. And I would interfere. Like he'd go to my brothers and sisters and they're idiots. Like my sister and brother in the middle, like they're just
Uh,
dumb and dumber, like ridiculous. And so I'm like, come this way. Let me usher you into a side room
oh,
and let me talk to you about it. And I'd be like, what do you think? Like, what do you think about that question? What do you say? Like, hmm. Like I would like turn it back on him like a therapist. Like, how do you
yes,
feel about that?
that was very clever.
It
Goodness
worked for a couple
me.
of years. I really wanted
Oh.
him to stay innocent. He was just my little brother.
Yeah, no, I hear you, and it's lovely when they still believe. But I still think even with older kids, I still think you can make things feel very special and very Christmassy. Like
Totally.
we still bake cookies on Christmas Eve. We do that. We have that as a tradition. We leave a cookie out and a carrot out for Rudolph. I mean, oh, and Santa gets Baileys these days.
Ooh.
So I always make sure that there's a Baileys out for Santa. So we still have fun with it. It's just different. And then the other thing I remember saying to my eldest daughter when she found out that it was kind of me and not Santa that was, delivering the presents. I said to her, "Well, listen, now that you know, it's like your turn to carry on the baton." And so she did a little bit of a similar thing to how you handled your brother, and
Yeah.
still, talked about Santa as if he was real and as if she believed in him. So that was quite cute. By the way, we still do the Santa tracker. Do you do that? There's a Santa tracker app.
No, I
Oh
I
my
haven't
god, it's
done
so
that.
good. Yeah. We've done it for
Right?
like several years now. Yeah, we still do it. And you can track whereabouts he is in the world.
Ah,
He puts his foot down. He doesn't hang around. He's like delivering millions of presents. He's in
busy man.
India. He's in India at like 10:30 and then 7 minutes later he's on a different continent. I mean, it's
Wow.
impressive. Yes, impressive.
I'll have to take a look at that, but yeah, I mean, I so when Christmas season comes around, I, like, pull out my calendar and I look for all the events, and we go to all the parades, we go to all, like, the different Christmas lightings and things, and it's really important for me to like usher in the magic of the time, because it's I just
Yes,
remember like when the Christmas music comes in on the radio and like the parade and all this, seeing Santa at the mall, like
I
these
love
things are
that.
special.
They are,
And you're
and
in charge
even
of it.
yeah, you are. And so I always do. So little things like when we're in the car, I'll play Christmas music on the Pandora station. I do things like that to make sure that, everyone's feeling Christmassy. But I do feel it's my responsibility. I do feel like that. I feel it's my responsibility to make the house look Christmassy, to make the atmosphere Christmassy. But I do enjoy this. This is one thing I know
Yeah.
we do moan, quite often about how we still carry the load, and we do as mums, and we do, and we're right to moan because it's not fair. However, I will say that I do enjoy Christmas. Yes, it can be stressful. Yes, every single Christmas Eve, without fail, I am up till 2 a.m. in the morning wrapping presents every single goddamn year. It doesn't matter how organized I think I've been, I'm still wrapping presents. But I even kind of enjoy that because I have a little tradition. I wrap presents whilst watching the Christmas carols from one of the cathedrals in London. And it's just my tradition. So I do that every
Aw.
Christmas Eve. So I have my Baileys. I'm watching my carol concert coming from wherever it is in London. King's College is the one that I usually watch. And it's all very traditional, but I like it like that.
I like
And
that
then,
too.
yeah. And then I also like cooking Christmas dinner. I'm quite happy to cook Christmas dinner. I enjoy it. I don't feel stressed. I'm drinking my Baileys. I aim for around maybe like 3 o'clock for Christmas dinner, but it's fine if it's 3:45. Like, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
And the other thing I like to do is I like to listen to Michael Bublé. I have my Michael Bublé Christmas album while I'm cooking and drinking Baileys. So I like all of that about Christmas.
Yeah, it's not Christmas
I
until
don't
Michael
mind.
Bublé comes on, I guess.
Yeah, and I don't mind taking on the mantle, if you like. I don't mind taking on that extra work for
Yeah,
Christmas because I do enjoy it.
I feel similar. There's certain things that I have to do or else it's not Christmas. Like for me, it's watching A Christmas Story.
Yes,
That's my
yes, yes,
favorite
yes.
Christmas movie.
Yes,
Um,
yes,
and there's a lot like followed by the Santa Claus, and like there's a lot of movies I like, but
yeah,
I'm the only one in my family who likes that movie. So I'm trying to inaugurate the kids. Like, you'll shoot your eye out. Like, let's do it. Come on, let's watch it. But like
yeah.
everybody thinks it's boring. I'm like, no, it's classic. It's not boring.
Oh, no, I hear you. I'm like that with certain things. So tell me, what's your Christmas Eve drill then? How do you spend Christmas Eve?
Oh, I'm the same as you, girl. Like I don't wrap all the gifts, and but I'm not a good
Yeah.
wrapper. I am
Yes.
horrible at wrapping
Oh,
gifts. Like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
notoriously looks like a toddler did it. And so Alex wraps the gift, and then
Oh,
I
wow.
am the decorator of said gifts. I can do
Okay.
ribbon and like the gift tags and everything.
Oh, so you've
Um,
got a tag team going on there. That's
yeah,
good.
teamwork,
Yeah,
teamwork.
yeah.
And then, preparing as much as I can for the morning of. I like to do like a crock
Yeah.
pot breakfast and get
Oh,
that
wow.
going the night before, and like having
What do you have
just
in that?
Christmas morning is kind of like my main thing. Like we do Christmas
Yeah.
dinner sometimes, but like Christmas brunch is like the big thing in our
Really?
house.
What do you have in your crock pot? What's in there? It sounds tasty.
Yeah, usually like an overnight French toast or
Oh
like
God,
something of
what?
that nature. Or like I've done
Wow.
oatmeal with like cinnamon and apples one time. Like I do like
Oh,
something.
I love it. Oh, you've got me feeling all Christmassy. I'm gonna try that. So,
Yeah.
okay,
Well, it makes the whole
usually
house smell all like ooh when you
yes.
wake up.
Well, in England, so I tend to just follow what you kind of follow what you did as a kid, don't you, when it comes to things like Christmas? So
Yeah.
generally you have a full English breakfast on Christmas morning in England. So, bacon, egg, sausage, tomatoes, mushrooms, toast, all of that. So I try and do that. And that's why we have Christmas dinner late. Well, when it's
Hmm.
kind of, yeah, I mean, we call it Christmas dinner in England. Usually people have it around 2 o'clock. I tend to do hours later just because we've had that type of a breakfast. But Christmas Eve's always nice. Christmas Eve's my favorite night of the year. I actually love it much more than New Year's Eve. I love Christmas Eve.
Oh, I love that. Well,
Yeah,
it's
I really
transitioned over
do.
the years. Like back when I was younger, Christmas Eve was kind of my great grandmother's holiday. We'd all go to her house, but she's since passed. And as matriarchs in our family, move on, the traditions change. And now that I'm
Yeah,
married to
sure.
Alex, we typically travel to my sister-in-law's house for the week prior, and we
Okay.
celebrate Christmas Eve with them. And then also, his dad, his late father, his birthday is that week before Christmas. So we do
Oh.
something special to honor his memory that day too.
Oh, that's so
So,
sweet. I love that. So
yeah.
you're creating your own traditions. Well, I think
Yeah.
that's what it's about when you have your own family. You want to there are certain traditions that you just want to continue, but then there are other ones that you want to create yourself and have like your own
Yeah.
identity on the holidays. So yeah,
Yeah.
I love Christmas Eve because like I said earlier, we bake cookies. There is a film called The Snowman. Oh, by the way, Christina, I need you to play this film to the girls. It's an English Christmas tradition. I want to say it came out in the 80s because I grew up watching it. On the TV networks in England, they'll always show this film on Christmas Eve. It's
The
called The Snowman.
snowman.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
so sweet. It's animated, it's fully animated. There's no voiceovers and it's so beautifully done. The music's fantastic. It's lovely classical music, and it's just gorgeous. I want you to watch it. It's
Oh,
actually quite sad at the end. Just a spoiler alert. It's a little sad at the end, but it's a tradition for all kids in England. So we watch that every Christmas Eve, the girls and I, and then like I say, we bake cookies. They will go to bed. Well, it's not early anymore, but they'll go to bed, and then I start my whole wrapping thing. One thing I
yeah.
do miss about being in England at Christmas, because it's cold and it's very Christmassy there. I mean, the weather in December in England's usually terrible, but it is very Christmassy. And in my village, where I'm from, they actually close off the village on Christmas Eve and have a carol service, an open air carol service in the village,
Oh,
and it's really nice. It's lovely. It just gets you
oh
really in the
man.
Christmas spirit. So yes, I'm
There.
trying to. Yeah, I know. I'm feeling so Christmassy right
I'm
now.
excited about Christmas now. Okay, so with
I
our
am.
viewers, I would love to hear from them of like when it comes to traditions, what is the thing that you wish you could like throw out, like the elf on the shelf of Claire, where you're like, oh my God,
Yes,
this is
yes,
the bane of my existence. And
it
what's
is.
like some stuff like, like Claire's recounting of things that you grew up with that you love bringing to your kids and that like bring the spirit back. I would love to hear from you guys, the good and
Yay.
the bad, the ugly of Christmas.
I would love to too, because it's so nice to hear about what everyone else does at Christmas and
Yeah.
how people celebrate it differently. So yeah, please share those with us. We'd love to hear from you guys. Well, I'm all Christmassy after that. I feel so
I know.
Christmassy right now.
Well, we'll come to you with another episode about, we'll kind of keep the Christmas time going. As we go ahead into the season, we'll talk about other things like the boundary setting and the holidays
Yes,
with family and
yes,
all of those things. So stay tuned. We'll be continuing the Christmas spirit, I promise.
yes, we will. So that brings us to the end of another episode of the Momversation Club.
And if you've enjoyed today's show, please don't forget to subscribe, like, and leave a review. Your support helps us reach so many moms and build a stronger village.
Yeah, it really, really does. And remember, we're here for you. And together, I promise, we'll figure out where the F is that village.
See you next time.
Bye.